Welcome to the discussion where the jokes are sarcastic and the tweets are actual declarations of war. As always, I'm your host, Stephen Hunt, and today we enter the 24th day of the biggest temper tantrum in history. But only instead of pounding his fist and turning red, he's launching nukes and crying on Twitter. This government shutdown has become the longest in U.S. history, beating out the previous record held by the 95 to 96 shutdown. And we all know that Trump is big on breaking records. I can just imagine him sitting in the White House right now. I am so great. I have shut the government down to get my wall. It's going to be so beautiful and so big that, dare we say, it's bigly. You know, Trump has been very wishy-washy on the wall recently, especially when it comes to prices.
And billions 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 and.
But Trump has been also very wishy-washy on what the wall is going to be made out of. First it was concrete, then it was solar panels, then it was invisible, and now it's steel slates. Donald Trump is as good as making up his mind as he is to paying porn stars to keep quiet. As the shutdown continues to go on, it looks more and more likely that it will end without a wall as Republicans begin to crack.
There are signs that the GOP support is splintering. At least 4 moderate Republicans are uneasy, suggesting they want to reopen the government with or without the funding for the president's wall.
Because of this, Trump is desperately trying to garner support for the wall. So recently he visited the southern border where his 72-year-old brain finally caught up to him.
They say a wall is medieval. Well, so is a wheel. A wheel is older than a wall. And I looked at every single car out there, even the really expensive ones that the Secret Service uses, and believe me, they are expensive. I said, do they all have wheels? Yes. Oh, I thought it was medieval. The wheel is older than the wall, you know that? And there are some things that work. You know what? A wheel works and a wall works.
I'm sorry, you think that a wheel is older than a wall? Where do you think cavemen drew their drawings? Speaking of cavemen, this shutdown is slowly turning us back into them.
Trash is piling up, there are health hazards, and park visitors in some places are taking care of business, shall we say, along pathways.
What? It's only been a few weeks and people are already shitting on the ground? No. You know what the funny thing about this is? The fact that it got reported, which means someone didn't go in a bush or in the forest. They went where someone could find it. Could you imagine you're just walking down the sidewalk, mind your own business, just, what's that smell? If we're shitting on the floor already after only a few weeks, how long until we reach the purge? That reminds me, I gotta check up on my hit list. As of right now, January 14th, it seems like there's no end in sight to this shutdown, as Trump and Congress wait for one another to surrender. And as the shutdown continues, the consequences get more dire.
If Congress and the White House can't come to a deal to fund a quarter of the government by February, millions of Americans who receive benefits from the country's food stamp program, SNAP, risk having their assistance cut off. The IRS has also been forced to send home 90% of its employees ahead of its busiest season. Pays out billions in tax refunds. What will a delay in returns mean for the greater economy without that money in circulation?
Yeah, I mean, it's $140 billion in February.
Yeah.
It's with a B, okay?
Right.
And that's a tremendous amount of money. That could single-handedly, push the country towards a recession.
Wow. I mean, we always knew Trump wanted to reverse everything Obama did, but to reverse the economy back to the 2008 recession, I think might be going a little bit too far. Really? I tell you there's going to be another recession and you laugh. And some of the consequences have already gone into effect. Just last week, 800,000 federal employees have been furloughed or working without pay. And when asked if Trump can empathize with these workers, this was his response.
I can relate, and I'm sure that the people that are on the receiving end will make adjustment. They always do, and they'll make adjustment. People understand exactly what's going on. But many of those people that won't be receiving a paycheck, many of those people agree 100% with what I'm doing.
I don't know about 100%, because if it was, I think your approval rating would be higher than 37%, and would not have dropped 5% since the shutdown started. And no, you can't relate, because you've been spoon-fed money your whole life, your toilet is literally made out of gold, and you've never even been to a grocery store.
You know, if you go out and you want to buy groceries, you need a picture on a card. You need ID.
No, you don't. If you need an ID to buy groceries, you're either a sex offender or an alcoholic. And since we know that Trump doesn't drink, it must be the former, and there's actually already evidence out there to support this.
I don't think Ivanka would do that inside the magazine, although she does have a very nice figure. I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. You know.
Stop it! Oh, it's so weird.
Yep. Just remember, we elected him. So who's the real perverts? Yeah, remember them. They're all American. I think we have a real problem. #MeToo at America. You know what just occurred to me? What if Donald Trump's secret kink is the wall? No, just think about it. Because everyone has a secret kink, even Donald Trump. And his kink could be the wall. I mean, just listen to the way he talks about it.
I would say Mexico's going to pay for it. Obviously, I never said this, and I never meant they're going to write out a check. I will build a great, great wall, and I will have Mexico pay for that wall. I said, you're not going to do it, and everybody told me, everybody, this is like the wall. Believe me, we're going to build a wall, Mexico's going to pay for it.
They don't get it, because I'm a business guy. That's what I do.
It's going to be built, it's going to be paid for by Canada, by the way. It's going to be paid for, maybe I'll get Canada paid, going to be paid for by Mexico. Mexico, in some form, and there are many different forms, will reimburse us, whether it's a tax or whether it's a payment.
There will be a payment. It will be in a form, perhaps a complicated form.
Maybe it gives him that special tingle that reminds him of the white picket fences of 1950s America. Because that's basically what the wall is when you really think about it. It's going to be America's white picket fence. Right now, Trump's like the old dude that yells at kids to get off his lawn. Maybe we should give him the wall. Because right now, he's screaming and yelling about the wall. If we give it to him, he'll have nothing to scream and yell about. Like, what if he does a complete 180 on Mexico? Like, the Mexican people are so beautiful and so great that I am resigning the presidency to go be the president of Mexico. And when he's the president of Mexico, he'll scream and yell that the wall was built. And his inauguration speech, he'll be like, we are going to build a big and beautiful ramp to get over that wall. We are going to make Mexico great again. Bueno. And because Trump contradicts himself so much, people will just go with it. And when he campaigns in Mexico, he'll promise that America will pay for the ramp. And because of it, after all those years, the shutdown will finally end. And Trump will have his favorite wall and ramp together, and he'll live happily ever after. That's our show for tonight. Thank you. Hi, I'm Stephen Hunt. If you enjoyed the sample you just saw of what's to come in the coming months, consider subscribing, like the video, hit the notification bell if you want to stay up to date with the show.